Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Patricia Alba, Assistant Director of Communications and Work Life at HR. Thank you for joining us for our wellness webinar with IFAS Leon County Extension agents Amy Mullins and Molly Jameson. Before they can get started, some housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded to our Work Life website and our YouTube channel. You're welcome to turn off your camera if you don't want to be shown in the recording. Amy and Molly will take questions at the end of the webinar. Feel free to post your questions in the chat and I'll keep an eye on them and curate them so that we can tackle them when they're done with their presentation. And finally, please make sure your microphone is muted to avoid interruptions during their presentation. With that said, Amy and Molly, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. So Amy and I will be covering Motivate Your Mind with healthy habits in the workplace. Okay, so time to go to work. So how many hours a week do you spend sitting? My guess is the answer is a lot. So Americans sit an average of 13 hours a day, and we sleep an average of 8 hours. So that is 21 hours that we are sedentary. And research shows that we should be standing 3 minutes for every one that we sit. So if you think about an 8-hour workday, that means we should stand for 6 hours and sit for only 2. The truth is, sitting is killing us. So a study published in the American Journal of Epidemiology followed over 120,000 people for over 10 years. And those that sat for more than 6 hours a day were 71% more likely to die during the time period studied than those who sat for less than 3 hours a day. And these findings are even independent of physical activity. So the negative effects of sitting were just as strong in people who exercise regularly than those that didn't.
So frequent inactivity for extended time periods is associated with higher rates of overweight and obesity and type 2 diabetes. And then the greater risk of dying from heart disease, stroke, and cancer, which together account for more than 50% of all deaths in the United States. And this is according to a 2014 Harvard study of over 92,000 women. The study also mentions that regular exercise did not decrease the increased death risks associated with prolonged sitting. Next slide. So the link between our health behavior and chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and certain cancers is pretty straightforward. The lack of physical activity, especially in combination with an inadequate diet, will inevitably lead to unhealthy weight and obesity-related diseases. So it is all connected. But the good news is that we can all make changes to improve how much we move and what we eat.
Amy, I'm sorry, there's some people that are not able to hear you very well. Is your microphone like muted a little bit? Like they say it's a little bit muffled.
It's a little better than it was at the beginning, but you did sound a little muffled.
Okay, I'll try and talk clearer. Is that better?
That is better, actually.
Okay. All right. So how can we be healthier? Making these improvements can be challenging, especially when it comes to establishing new routines. But the effort is well worth it. Incorporating small changes can improve your mood, your physical health, and your diet, and even your productivity. So what tools can we use to build healthy habits? Next slide. Next slide.
Did it not change for you?
I did the other one first. There we go.
Sorry.
So first of all, standing up. Many of us undoubtedly work most of our hours in the seated position. So it's easy to be in the habit of sitting at your desk or workstation in one position, hardly ever moving for sometimes hours at a time. But standing up to stretch or to work from a standing position is a conscious decision, one that we should all make a regular habit of. Standing has amazing benefits that include toning muscles, improving posture, increasing blood flow, speeding up metabolism, and even burning extra calories. Next slide. So in addition to the physical benefits, standing up and moving more improves your mood and mental energy, as well as combating fatigue. Even just 5 minutes per hour will help you feel less lethargic, improve your mental focus, and even dull that feeling of hunger and our tendency to snack. Next slide. So standing actually requires more energy than sitting and burns 30% more calories than sitting still. So when muscles stay activated, there's a fat burning enzyme in our bodies called lipoprotein lipase. This is increased. So keeping large muscles engaged, like our legs while standing, supports our improved metabolic state and has positive impacts on our blood cholesterol, blood sugar, and blood pressure. Next slide. So whether at the office or at home, you want to make it a mission to be more mindful of movement throughout your entire day. Experts recommend not sitting for more than 20 minutes at a time and not standing in one position for more than 8 minutes at a time. So you want to stand up and move on a rotating basis, take activity breaks, stand while working, but don't be a statue. So what are some other ways that we can move more? If you're on a conference or video call, why not stand and stretch or do some squats or desk push-ups? Take the stairs every chance you get. And what about taking your meetings outside? You can walk the walk and talk the talk and have those scheduled meetings with coworkers and get some exercise at the same time. Next. Moving more and being active doesn't actually require special equipment or anything more than maybe an exercise mat, stretch band, or light hand weights. You may consider some of these things if you don't already have them, but keeping them in close proximity to your desk will not only remind you to use them often, but it will make it easier for simple activity to become second nature and not extra. Next slide. So these are some simple exercises that you can do anywhere, and they are going to improve your posture, your flexibility, and help alleviate muscle fatigue and stress. The first one is straight up. It's basically where you interlace your fingers and pull your arms overhead with your palms reaching up, and you hold that pose with your back straight as you can for 10 to 15 seconds. Okay? And then the next one that we can all do while we're sitting down or standing up, you can do a shoulder neck tilt where you grab your arms behind your back and you grab your wrist with the opposite hand and pull while tilting your head to one side. And then you reverse and repeat, doing this for 10 to 12 seconds on each side. And then the next one I have here is called Pump It Up, and it's where we would put our arms above our head, and you're going to grab your opposite elbow and lean one side, and then hold it for 8 to 10 seconds. And then, of course, repeat everything that you do on that opposite side for the same amount. Get some upper body stretching. Next slide, please. All right, another chair exercise that we can do is called the twist. It's where you cross one leg over another and you take the opposite arm to your knee and twist very slowly. Don't do it if it hurts too much, but go very slowly. Twist towards your open side. Hold that stretch for 8 to 10 seconds and then rotate and do it on the other side for the same length of time. We can stand up, like I said, and you can do things like quad stretch or the warrior pose. Quad stretch is basically grasping your ankle. You want to hold onto a chair or the wall or something so you don't fall over. And gently pull your heel up and back until you feel a stretch in the front of your thigh. Tighten your stomach and your core muscles and keep your knees close together. And hold this for as long as you can, usually about 30 seconds, and then switch legs and repeat. The next one takes a little more balance. It's a yoga pose called Warrior 2, And it is really great for strengthening the shoulders, the arms, feet, ankles, and legs. And it also stretches the ankles, legs, and the groin, chest, and shoulders. So it's a really nice overall balance and stretch exercise. Some other things we can do at our desk to flex our muscles would be the triceps dip, which you could do either on a chair or on your desk. And that is a really nice way to strengthen your upper arms and your shoulder muscles. And also do desk push-ups. Just make sure your desk doesn't move around or is on wheels. You don't want an injury. And then the last one would be the wall squat. Now you don't need to have an exercise ball to assist you with the wall squat. If you do have one, that's great. But you can just do this straight up against the wall as well. And you want to hold that pose for as long as you can, usually, 10 to 15 seconds is good. And then don't forget about your hands. We all get the hand cramps and the carpal tunnel, and too much one position at your keyboard isn't good for you. So doing some stretching of your wrists and your fingers is really important. It can decrease muscle stiffness and joint pain. There's flexion and extension. So flexion would be this downward movement. Extension would be the upward one. You could even assist it by holding out your hand this way. We have radial and ulnar deviation, where we're twisting right and left with the wrist. And then pronation and supination, which is holding it in a fist and twisting all the way. And you can feel that all the way down your arm. And of course, if you've got like a stress ball, you don't have one, you should. But a stress ball where you can hang on to that and tighten your finger grip throughout the day while you're on the phone or just anytime. Next slide, please. All right, so I mentioned an exercise ball earlier. So if you don't have one, it's a good idea to get a stability ball, and it's a nice exchange for using your chair, okay? It's a great way to alternate between sitting and standing and allowing more movement while you're working at your desk. The stability ball not only encourages movement, it also activates your core, abdominal, and back muscles, as well as increasing your mental focus and productivity. They use these a lot of times in schools to get kids that are a little hyperactive moving around a little bit. It helps increase the thinking. And it's important to alternate your work position on a rotating basis. So you may find it helpful to set up reminders or some kind of a schedule on your phone or smartwatch to notify you so you can actually establish a good habit on your own. Next slide. And then I bought this about a year ago and I love it. It's pretty much like sitting on an exercise bike, a stationary bike. And it's just an under the desk pedal exerciser. They're pretty inexpensive. You can get them on Amazon. It can really reduce stiffness and soreness in the legs and lower back and improve your blood circulation. And of course, it can improve your focus. So pedaling while you're working can improve your focus, your alertness, and your concentration. These come with adjustable resistance levels, and that can help you to customize your work.
Okay, and another option to get is a stand-up desk or a stand-up desk converter. So you don't have to necessarily replace your whole desk. They make these stand-up converters. And the one in the middle and left picture is the one I got, I think back in like 2017. So I've had it for going on like 7 years, and I still use it all the time. So it's really great because you don't want to have to stand all the time, but of course you don't want to be sitting all the time. So this can give you that flexibility. Mine has a manual adjustment. There are some that are automatic, but 67% of U.S. office workers wish their employers offered them a stand-up desk or a stand-up desk converter. And it really can help you to kind of go back and forth throughout your day very easily with not sitting too much and taking a stand. To pair with a stand-up desk, you could have a terrain mat. So you can, you don't want to be standing in the same position for extended periods of time either, because that can also cause fatigue and discomfort. But if you get a mat, it can provide that cushioning and support for your feet and your legs and your back. And the pros of a terrain mat is that they have an uneven surface. There's a lot of different types out there, but it kind of encourages you to shift your weight and move your feet around, which can increase your circulation. And you could even do little stretches with your legs and your back using the different terrain that your mat has. So this can be really great for just kind of keeping you active, even when you're in a standing position. Okay, a few more problems and ways to kind of deal with them. Do you have tech neck? So the human head actually weighs between 8 and 10 pounds. And when you're slouching, your head is going to tilt forward and down, and gravity is going to increase the weight. So even tilting your head just 30 degrees is going to add 40 pounds of strain on your neck and your upper spine. So over time, the strain could lead to chronic pain, headaches, arthritis, pinched nerve, bone spurs, disc degeneration, and a lot of different problems. So it is really important to straighten up. So straighten up your posture, and you want to move your computer screen so that it is level with your line of sight. And one thing with the stand-up desks, you are able to, if you have a way that you can move your computer screen with the level of your stand-up desk, that's great too. With mine, I have it figured out to where even when I'm standing, it's level with my eyesight. And if you really have any pain that really persists, it is important to see a specialist. All right, gamer's thumb. So thumb, hand, and wrist pain from repetitive stress injury. So this is from gripping, tapping, swiping, even typing. So all these repetitive motions that we're doing, especially if you're texting a lot on your phone or on an iPad, this can give you what's called gamer's thumb. So you just want to rely less on texting, even switch between your left hand and your right hand if you are doing it regularly. Or use speech to text technologies so you're not doing that repetitive motion with your hands. And it is actually the #1 most searched technology-related injury is gamer's thumb. Another one, email eye. So according to the Vision Council, an eye care advocacy group, more than 60% of Americans report symptoms associated with digital eye strain. So eye-related headaches, dry eyes, and blurred vision. So the American Optometric Association is going to suggest the 20-20-20 rule. So this is, every 20 minutes or so, you really should take a 20-second break and focus away from your computer screen. And if you're able to look away at least 20 feet. So just doing that, every 20 minutes, making sure you're not really just staring at your computer screen for too long can help give your eyes a break and reduce that eye strain. And schedule breaks. So, get outside. I know it's pretty hot right now, at least here in Tallahassee. But even just taking, short little walks around your office or just around your office building. I know a lot of us have hour-long lunch breaks, might not take you that time to eat. So even just taking a stroll around the office can help increase your steps. Instead of necessarily just drinking coffee to help energize you, a walk or a stretch can go a long way. And you can even do a bike ride with coworkers. If you work remotely, you could do this with your family or alone, but just even having a little bit of exercise throughout your day can really go a long way. All right, dress for success. So it is important to wear comfortable and non-restrictive clothing. So shirts and pants with some stretch is really going to allow you to do some of those stretches that Amy talked about. And make sure that you're wearing shoes that are comfortable and that you're willing to walk in. So if you come into work with uncomfortable shoes, of course, that's going to discourage you throughout the day from walking around. Increase your water intake. So you can have the 8x8 rule. So this is drinking 8-ounce glasses of water every day. And investing in a reusable water container can kind of help you with this. So you have just a very accessible watering container that you don't have to have, non-reusable water plastic bottles. And if you drink water a lot throughout the day, you're going to have to get up to refill that water bottle. And then, of course, inevitably, you're going to be taking more trips to the bathroom. So that is going to, of course, be more steps. And so just really try to kind of have a change in office culture. So building a culture of health with workplace wellness activities can go a long way. Identify benefits with your coworkers and your boss. Maybe share ideas. Maybe include this in your next office meeting. Having a support system can really help encourage these healthy behaviors. If you work at an extension office, maybe take a walk around the extension gardens. And possibly even do some watering or harvesting activities that you can incorporate into your day, can really just help you have a more holistic, healthy approach to the rest of your day. All right, Amy.
So now we're going to switch and talk about our food habits when it comes to being at work. And this may look familiar to many of you. It turns out that only 20% of American workers actually leave their desk to eat lunch on a daily basis, which means that 80% of us are eating lunch while we're working at our desk. So working through lunch is often the standard for many of us, and unfortunately, this can equate to negative health consequences of the time. Next. So health consequences of eating a regular SAB desk lunch include eating more calories, heavier snacking throughout the day, and choosing more unhealthy snacks, which are empty calories, with the average desk worker consuming an additional 476 calories each day. That's a lot. Next. So why leave your desk for lunch? Well, there's a lot of good reasons to get up, walk away, and leave your desk at lunch. This can improve your mood, facilitate productivity and boost creativity, can increase your energy level. Getting outdoors into the natural daylight can reduce stress and depression and help us get that vitamin D from the sunshine that we all need. It can help improve your digestion. It can reduce mindless eating and control weight gain. Increasing physical activity, of course, and improving circulation and joint health. It can also improve your interaction with coworkers. If you're doing something during lunch around the workplace and you're getting away outside, then maybe, you can invite a coworker to join you and spread the health. Next slide, please. All right, so let's talk about the food part of this. Bigger isn't better. It's important to be cautious about lunch, whether you're eating at your desk or having takeout or delivery or eating in a restaurant. Our portion sizes have skyrocketed and have also the rates of obesity and unhealthy people. In the 1950s, the average burger, fries, and soda were much smaller than they are now, as you can see here. So our appetites as well as our expectations have increased drastically. So the best advice is to have a plan or a goal and stick to it. Research the nutrition information so that you can make informed and wise choices. Make substitutions like trading out French fries for a side salad or selecting grilled chicken over fried chicken or ground beef. Controlling your portions is a really big one. You may want to try the kids' meal or splitting an entree with a coworker or saving half for dinner that night or lunch the following day. And be mindful while you're eating. Take your time, slow down, and enjoy your meal. And then I'd say, the whole experience doesn't have to take an hour. Make time so that after lunch, you can take a short walk outside or around the building to enhance your metabolism and to improve your digestion. Next slide. All right, so of course, preparing your own meal for lunch is ideal. You can save calories, money, and your health. These are some colorful examples of ways to incorporate healthy foods into your lunch and include a good balance of nutrients and essential food groups. These are portioned bento style boxes or plates. You don't have to get this fancy with it. These are really beautiful. My lunch doesn't look like this either. It's a goal, but you notice all the colors and the portions and the variety. So having some kind of portioned out container that you're bringing to work, and having the variety in it is really the goal. Next. So as I said, planning is key. Healthy lunches and snacks just don't happen on their own. They require planning and then actually taking the action. The grocery shopping, it isn't as it used to be. You know, it's got its own set of challenges. Things are more expensive, but so is eating out, you know. So whether you're going to the grocery store or if you're having your food delivered or whatever you're doing, it's essential that you plan ahead and try to make the most preparing for a healthy week. Some tips that you may want to remember would be to include leftovers as part of your plan for lunches, and be sure to incorporate simple sides like fruits and vegetables into all of your meals. Plan snacks ahead too, and do that chopping, fruits and vegetables, all that stuff, pre-portioning. Do it ahead of time and put it into individual serving containers or usable baggies, and then you have it ready to go when you go to work. So some ideas for healthy and easy snacks might include hummus and whole grain crackers, nuts and seeds, low-fat cheese. Popcorn is a whole grain. Popcorn's great, but you don't want to pick the movie theater style popcorn. You want to read the label and get the one without the extra butter and salt. Also, just a piece of fruit like a small apple or orange, or a handful of grapes, or some cut up watermelon. You know, this summer watermelon is abundant. It's a really great snack. And then yogurt. Yogurt's always a good choice, but be sure that you choose one without a lot of added sugars. You know, they do put a lot of sugar in just about everything, so you want to read the label. Low-fat Greek yogurt is an excellent choice. It is high in protein, and that can help you go longer in between meals without being hungry. Yes. So also snacking can be our downfall if you don't plan ahead. You may fall victim to the unhealthy choices in the vending machine on your floor or around the corner. So several good options you may or may not find in your vending machine. You know, sometimes last ditch effort here is, you know, I'm starting, I need to get something from the vending machine, but also for planning ahead, we may bring these things from home. Some things you may find will be pretzels, almonds, trail mix, maybe some animal crackers or dried fruit, fat-free or reduced popcorn, and whole grain crackers with peanut butter or cheese. These are all decent choices for a snack.
Okay, and also you can incorporate activity trackers and apps. I know a lot of us are now aware of some of these that are out there, but you know, setting goals, tracking your exercises, and even maybe your food intake can really be effective, especially if if you really try to stick with it. So I know I have a Fitbit that I wear every day. And, you know, my goal is getting 10,000 steps every day. So sometimes I come home, if I only have a few thousand steps, that can be that motivating factor to really get me out there and moving around and just to get my steps goal for the day. So, you know, take a look. There's a lot of things out there. There's different tools that can help you to remind you to stand up or even to, you know, look away from your computer after 20 minutes. And so these can really go a long way to remind you, because I know we all get hectic and busy, and sometimes it is really hard to have healthy habits in the workplace. And lastly, you know, it's just really important to be mindful. So really be thinking about how you feel. You know, if you've noticed you've had a little more inactivity throughout a day, you know, take that time to get up and move around. And, you know, if this all seems pretty overwhelming and too much to do all at once, you know, just try to make, you know, 1 or 2 healthy changes and just go from there. You know, after just a few weeks of making a couple healthy changes, you might want to incorporate more of them. And it is really important to discuss workplace wellness, you know, at your office with your coworkers, with your boss. Really share ideas and make it known that you want to have more of a holistic, healthy workplace. Because we all know if we're more healthy, we're going to be more productive in the long run. And here are just some resources for you all. And we will definitely share our slides so you guys can take a look back at these slides later on. Anyone have any questions?
Okay, thank you, Amy and Molly. We have two questions that came through right now. What does the research say about a standing desk?
Yeah, standing desks are really good. I think it is important to be still moving around. So even if you stand in one position for a long period of time, that can also be bad. So, making sure that you have good support and that you're moving around is important. And I know there's definitely some research out there that says standing desks are great because, I mean, again, we're sitting too long, our posture is bad. And so by varying our positions while we work can also help our concentration and our focus, as well as our physical health. Amy, I don't know if you had anything else to add to that.
Okay. The next question that came through was, is there evidence to support that pre-portioning food is good and does not decrease its nutritional value?
Evidence to support pre-portion food is good, and
Fruit, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
Fruit,
Fruit. Oh, fruit.
yes.
Okay, yeah. So, when it comes to fruit, I mean, it's a good idea to have a portion size in mind for any of the foods that you're eating. We need about 2.5 cups of fruit per day. So, having, one small apple or an orange, or cutting up some watermelon or peaches or something like that, and having that 1 cup during the day, and then maybe having another snack in the evening, incorporating some at breakfast can get you to the 2.5 cups. Fruit that is frozen versus fresh versus canned, they're all nutritious. They're all equally as good. When they freeze fruits and vegetables, they do the flash freezing and it retains the nutrients in there. Sometimes canned things can have extra sodium in it if we're talking about vegetables. For fruit, you want to make sure that you're choosing things that are the natural juices and not heavy syrup or with additional sugar added. So again, be sure to read your labels. So if you're portioning things up at home and bringing them in, you want to choose things that aren't on their last leg, as far as like almost spoiled. We want to keep things, as fresh as possible. The longer it sits around, and the older it is, it does decrease the nutrient of the fruit. I hope that answered your question.
Yes. The next question is, do you guys have any tips for increasing steps while working remotely?
I guess it would be pretty similar to at a workplace. It might even be easier to do it remotely because then maybe you're in your own environment. Using fitness trackers, just incorporating more movement just into your daily routine. So a lot of repetition is really key. Go for short walks. Just break up your sitting time, maybe give yourself challenges, or if you have any errands to do, just short errands around the house. Just so it might even be easier to do it remotely than in the office, I might think. Another thing we didn't mention is really, instead of calling up your coworker on the phone, if you're in an office setting, walk down the hallway, and talk to them. So I know there's a lot of times I will call Amy or I'll call Mark, our horticulture agent, on the phone when I really should use that as an opportunity to get up and walk around. I don't know, Amy, do you have anything to add to that?
I would say it's as hard to do it at home as it is at work. Like if you don't schedule the time,
True.
it gets by you, and by the end of the day, you're like, well, I have 400 steps. What did I do? Now I have to make it up for it all. So I would say to schedule it. If you've got an Apple Watch, my reminder goes off every 50 minutes on the hour, telling me that it's time to stand and move around. That's a good reminder. It is, and maybe I'm in the middle of doing something else, but it does keep me reminded that I'm just sitting here working, and that my health is just as important as my work.
Okay, the next question is, are there any tricks you can share when using the under desk bike? Gretchen recently purchased one, but her knees keep bumping the desk.
Mine do too. So I have to turn my chair sideways and use I know they call it an under desk bike, but unless you're, I don't know, 6 feet tall and have a really tall desk, that it doesn't work. So turning your chair sideways and then, doing it this way, or even having, like, I have a cart that I don't have a standing desk like Molly does, so I actually will use my wireless keyboard and my wireless mouse, and I'll move it to my cart, and then I raise the cart all the way up. And then I use that as the standing desk, but then for sitting down and doing, the bike, I can use that same cart and adjust the height so that I'm not bumping my knees on it.
Okay, next question is, are there any exercises we can do to help reduce neck strain?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'll tell you, I've got neck strain and I've got a pinched nerve currently going on, and it is very painful and it's debilitating. It makes you feel like you can't do anything. But just, really, using ice when you have those issues. But on a regular basis to reduce neck strain, I would say to always just be conscious of your posture, right? My chiropractor told me, once an hour for 20 seconds, stand up, put your hands behind your back, like you're putting them in your back pocket, and stand up straight and lift your head up for about 10 seconds and hold that. And that really helps strengthen your neck muscles and improve your posture and your shoulder muscles as well. So again, it's setting those reminders to do that or making it a routine so it doesn't seem like an extra task.
Okay. The next question is, for alternating sitting or standing, do you recommend a high top stool versus a full high top chair with a back?
I think maybe it's really going to depend on keeping your posture. I think a high top stool, you want to be careful that that doesn't encourage you to slouch, or to break your good posture. So, anything that's going to make sure that you have good support, good lumbar support, and that you're not slouching is going to be important. And then also just alternation. So, you don't want to stay in one position for too long. So if you have good posture and you're really mindful of that, and you're getting up and moving around a lot, that's going to be more important than necessarily having like a high top chair. Amy, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I would say you want to keep your feet on the ground. That helps with your posture as well. So you don't want your feet dangling in any way. I would definitely choose a chair with a back over a stool because I think that encourages the slumping. Also, an ergonomic chair. I know sometimes we're stuck with whatever chair is in our office, but you can buy lumbar support cushions or pads that you can attach to your chair that might help. And then, just kind of play around with the height of your chair and the different cushions or things that you can sit on that and take the pressure off of your spinal cord when you're sitting down. Those can all improve your posture.
And a follow-up to that, does a stool or ball suffice, or is it recommended to alternate with a chair with a back?
Yeah, I think having the stability ball and alternating that with an ergonomic chair, one that is fit for you, is a really good way to alternate. And then of course the standing in between those three things, you're getting a wide range of motion, you're changing your muscle patterns, and it definitely is better for all the reasons we talked about to do all of it.
Then we have, is a vertical mouse better than a regular mouse?
I think if you're having some issues with your wrist or any carpal tunnel type symptoms, it might be worth trying a vertical mouse. I know that it can be hard to adjust. So if you're used to a traditional mouse for a long period of time, you're going to have like basically a period to really retrain yourself in using a vertical mouse. I have never used one, but I have done some research about them. But yeah, making sure you have good wrist support, and again, just always making sure that you keep moving your wrists and giving them a break is going to be important. But if you are having a lot of wrist strain, you could try a vertical mouse, but just know that you're going to have a transition period and getting used to it.
If I can just add to that, I have like a bar mouse for me, like those that have like the little bar right above, and that has been wonderful because my right arm has been bugging me.
I would say too, I've got one, I don't know if you can see this or not. It's one of these, I don't know what a vertical mouse is, but this is one that's got, you know, you don't have to move it all over the desk. You just move this ball with your thumb, basically. And I love this because I don't have to readjust the mouse all the time. And I can keep my wrist support in the same place and just move my thumb, basically, and occasionally use the clickers. But I like that one.
Okay. Any more questions? I'm not seeing anything else come through. Let's see. Or anything else you would like to add, Molly or Amy?
No, just thank you all for joining us today. I hope this was helpful and that you will incorporate some of these tips into your workday and that you'll see some benefits real soon.
Well, thank you, Amy and Molly. We appreciate the information you shared with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Have a good day.